You can go now. I'll just edit this part out.
Are we going to take a look at this list?
Oh god, I did it again. Ah, crap. I'm gonna have to do this on the fly, and this is gonna be great because this is the bit that goes on YouTube. So,
No,
um,
this is fantastic.
this is fantastic. Yes, we're gonna.
My face, my face in low resolution, so you can't even tell there's a zit on my forehead.
How
All
do I
right,
do
so
this
Raleigh,
before?
what matchup do we have here for our top 4 match?
This is the 2-3 matchup. So, this is going to be Jared on the Rainbow Road up against. Why is this cutting off completely? Up against Rotozap or something on Vespiquen.
So these are 2 one-prize decks that that are very interesting. I think something that's going to be big for the Vespiquen deck will be, can you find enough Pokemon in the discard pile to be able to start one-shotting that Xerneas? That Xerneas deck often plays Fighting Fury Belt to give you a little more HP and a little more damage. And so getting through this one prizer with effectively, I think, 170 HP, or is it 160
160.
HP?
Yeah, it does have 120 base. Yeah.
Yeah. With 160 HP is going to be tricky because you need 14 Pokemon in your discard pile. Xerneas is weak to Metal, which is not one of those types that exist in the Vespiquen deck as an attacker. And so we will see that Vespiquen player get start. Oh, I guess the Rainbow Road player started. Right, first turn rules, I forget. Yes.
Yes. Listen, Vinny, I'm doing my best, okay?
Despite this earthquake on stream here, we see a pretty good turn 1 for the Rainbow Road player. Getting that Floatstone on Volcanion is huge. There aren't many ways to move that Volcanion, and it is possibly one of your worst starters, but now you just have to turn that into a pivot. Okay.
I'm trying my best, chat. I'm trying my best.
Yep. So we see that Jared attempt to try. I was thinking about benching that Flygon, but I agree with not benching it. Benching that Flygon now, it's just a potential target for a boss for stall for a couple turns, as Vespiquen needs to build up 14 Pokemon in their discard pile to be able to one-shot that Xerneas. Now the first Xerneas might be a 2-shot, depending on how. Oh, okay, the Volcano retreats. Oh no, that was a boss. That was a boss. See, so yeah, that's a perfect reason why that Flygon shouldn't be played down. If it was played down last turn, that target of the boss would have been that Flygon. We need to find another Floatstone to move it, which apparently, he had in hand already. But I do like that. I do like that. Do like that he waited a turn to bench it here. Let's see.
All right, this is very, very scuffed, but we're getting there. I wish it would come on, just. It keeps auto filling. I don't want it to do that. Come on. I'm sorry, Vinny. I'm doing my best, okay? This is all Sam's fault. So for those of you watching on YouTube and laughing at the hilarity of me trying to do anything technology related, this is all Sam's fault for being the only guest I have ever had who insisted on having a face cam. So once again, we can get Blame Sam as a trending thing. There's Blame Gazer, but we're gonna get Blame Sam as a trending hashtag here. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to have you here because you're carrying the stream while I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing with technology. So appreciate that. Blame Riley, no. Never blame Sam.
My vanity knows no bounds. So.
Facecam does make everything better. That's true. Yes, we did see Sam applying some concealer earlier, which is great. You wouldn't get to see that normally. So Facecam for Sam. Sam Cam. Come on.
Yeah, this is huge for Rainbow Road here. Getting 2 max elixirs allows allows that Xerneas to attack with Rainbow Force this turn. It's doing 170 damage. That's 10 plus, or it's 10 plus the 10 from Fighting Fairy Belt plus 30 more for each type on the bench. There's a Flygon. Volcanion has 2 types. Xerneas, and Shaman for 5 types total. So that's 150 plus 10 plus 10. This turn is going to be a huge turn for the Vespiquen player. Can they find a way to attack? And I think ideally the very least amount of damage they should try to do this turn is 130. I think they really need to try to be able to at least 2-shot with a Shaman next turn, or else you'll fall too far behind. I know there are 2 prizers on the bench, so you can pick off a couple 2 prizers later. We saw an interesting decision from Majestic Harp not to play the Parallel City. That Parallel City would have taken 2 types off of the bench. But unfortunately, it also reduces your grass Pokemon's damage by 20 if you point the damage reduction side at yourself. And the problem with that is you need to do damage or else you will not have a good time.
And this is a huge play from Jared, bringing up that Shaman, taking the 3-prize lead. Just like you were saying, in the 1-prize, single-prize matchups like this, you want to limit the amount of the amount of prizes that you have available on the board. And that's something that, especially from the Vespiquen side, where you're able to Sky Return your 2 prizers out of play with a DCE, is something that this Rainbow Road deck can also do, but not as effectively as the Vespiquen deck. You need a lot more resources in play continually with this Rainbow Forest deck. So being able to just chase down that Shaman really aggressively before you can Sky Return it to safety, or before you can Parallel City it away off your bench, and then we see the immediate response with the Lysander up a Shaman to bring it back within 1 prize.
Unfortunately, I believe that Jared has a clear path to victory here. With only 3 prizes left, a Shaman on the Vespiquen player's bench. Now we have energy for next turn as well. The DTE goes on the benched Xerneas, possibly. Yeah, that's correct. You can VS Seeker for the classic boss's orders into the Shaman, and you go down to 1 prize, and you have game on board. A lot of this is also going to depend on how the Vespiquen player starts. I've played a lot of Vespiquen myself, and there's games where you have Battle Compressor and games where you don't have Battle Compressor. And being able to get Pokemon into the discard pile quickly, being able to start ramping up damage is going to be pretty important. And I know Majestic Carp had a pretty unfortunate start there with not having super consistency in his hand. But Vespiquen typically is a deck with better starting hands than Rainbow Road, and so what they need to hope for is that the Rainbow Road player fizzles out a little bit, doesn't get the turn to attack, and they're able to capitalize on their advantage.
And I want to talk about something that I'm noticing about this Rainbow Road list. So I just pulled up the 60. I'm looking at it now. So this plays 2 different Shaman EXs. Those of you who actually played in this time might have been aware of the Shaman EX, the grass type that has the aroma. Oh my god, I can't even read this. This is so small. Aroma of Gratitude ability. It heals 20 damage from each of your bench basic Pokemon. Basically just there again as another type, but because it's an EX, you can search it off of Hoopa. So it just kind of streamlines your ability to get, as many types as you can off of 1 Ultra Ball. But it also plays a Mew EX with the versatile ability. It also plays a Jolteon EX and 1 Lightning Energy that you see in this hand right here, plus a Broxcrit. And a Faded Town for the Mega matchup, that can help put Mega Mewtwo down into 190 range, which means you don't need a Skyfield. So very, very interesting list here. I definitely have never seen something quite like this from the Rainbow Road deck, but that's the beauty of a deck that plays rainbow types, is you can kind of just splash whatever you want in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super interesting for there to be, there's still innovation in old formats. There weren't that many tournaments in this one format. And so people, I certainly don't think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I certainly don't think that Jolteon and Lightning was a huge inclusion back in the day. But it certainly makes sense, right? There's certain matchups that you can auto win with the Jolteon, and having a free retreat pivot is certainly very helpful. I remember back in the day, people used to play the Joltik and Galvantula to get the grass and lightning types. But we see here that in lieu of that, there is the Shaman and Jolteon to have that type coverage.
Well, and this works out really well for Jared because this, I personally played the Galvantula line, as you mentioned there, in my build of this deck when I played it in this era. And it was really good against Greninja because it does hit for weakness on bench Pokemon. So it actually has the Grass and Lightning dual type. And it hit for weakness, you're able to put Shamans down to 60 with 1 attack. And you're able to take out 2 Froakies with the 30 snipe. Turned into 60, of course, with the grass weakness. So it was really, really good against things that played. I love all the spams we got going back and forth here, but it was really good against things that played a lot of Shamans. It was really good against Greninjas and taking out those Froakies. So not having any Greninjas that did well in this tournament kind of worked out really well in Jared's favor, not needing to play another, a 2-2 line in the list, which could have clunked it up. And of course, the Jolteon, as Sam mentioned with the free retreat, is a great inclusion. It was seen a lot in decks in this time because it has that natural free retreat. But because you have the lightning weakness, the flash ray attack is super strong against all basic decks. That you just throw the lightning in there and you could just auto win certain matchups. It's really great against Evital, etc. So I like the one lightning is very interesting. Not in this matchup, but just overall very interesting. Very interesting choice.
Yeah, something interesting to consider here too is the direction of the parallel city. The currently, is that an intelligence gathering?
It sure was.
Wow. Yeah, so Majestic Carp here pointed the parallel city in their own direction to reduce their bench to 3. It's to prevent the bench damage, I guess, or excuse me, the grass damage reduction. And also, it almost makes no difference for their opponent to have 3 bench Pokemon. Obviously, it could cut off options like being able to bench Shaman in the future, but with the Volcanion having 2 types and just another type being on the bench always, there shouldn't it shouldn't make a difference.
Wonderful comment in chat. I love this. She gather on my intelligence until I be revenged. For real, no cat. Love that one, Dying Mayo. Love that. Had to shout that one out.
Unfortunately, generally, when you're using intelligence gathering as an attack, it does not bode well for your game state. But sometimes, what has to be done has to be done. And with the teammates here, we'll see if Majestic Harp can get to how many Pokemon are on the bench are on the discard? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Did you count the Pokemon in the discard?
No, I was checking something else here. And it's an interesting interaction here because obviously this Rainbow Road deck wants to fill their bench. And then, of course, the Zoroark with that Mind Jack attack can, punish that. But then, of course, the Xerneas has Dark Resistance, so it effectively has 180 HP as far as the Zoroark is concerned. So really interesting kind of back and forth of, don't overextend your bench, don't play too far into the Mind Jack potential, because then it gives gives the Vespiquen deck a lot more versatility and attackers.
Yeah, the real dangerous part is if possible, the Rainbow Road player does not want the Vespiquen player to be able to take a Lysander KO on a benched EX Pokemon with Zoroark. So the Shaman, the colorless type Shaman is 110 HP. This Grass Shaman, I don't even want to guess how much HP it is, but I'm going to say 130.
The Grass Shaman is also 110, I think, yeah.
Also 110, okay. So you don't want that, in theory, ideally, you don't want that Zoroark to be able to take, to boss and take that KO, because then you save a Vespiquen for later. However, we are already currently now at the 130 mark. I do agree with, though, benching that Jolteon, a free retreat pivot is very helpful, and it's an extra type. I love Carp's comments here.
Yeah,
but
we get a deck check.
So, yeah. A Rainbow Force here will get a knockout, and for Carp to come back in this game, they will eventually need 2 EX knockouts. And so that is an EX knockout on that Shaman, preferably this turn with the Zoroark without the Float Stone as they set up their board, and eventually will need another knockout with an EX knockout with a different Vespiquen or Zoroark.
And
So I
that's the
guess
key like advantage too that I think that V's has right now is that there's no two prizers in play, whereas there are some squishier two prizers in play for Rainbow Road.
Yeah. So Rainbow Road is going to win this game in 4 turns. And so, I mean, if they draw reasonably well. Obviously, N is a factor, but I'm sure the over the next couple turns, we'll be seeing more Xerneases with EXP shares or fighting Fairy Belts become, coming into play. So you have to work off the assumption that the Vespiquen player is on a clock, that the Rainbow Road's going to win in 4-ish turns. Or now in their in the next 4 turns. So you do need to go in and be able to take two EX knockouts with bosses at some point to be able to finish 1 turn ahead.
That's a great question though. Sam, what do you think is the most puntable Pokemon? I think Shaman has been offered up as the most puntable Pokemon, but I think Joltik, that's a pretty good second choice there.
So Joltik is actually one of the lightest and smallest Pokemon, I think, in the game. I believe it's only like a couple inches big. So I actually don't think it'd be that great of a candidate for punting because I don't think it'd be very aerodynamic. Air resistance would affect it more. In terms of punting, I would say a rounder Pokemon that's a little bit larger size that is aerodynamic. I don't have a good answer currently. Like none of the puffy Pokemon, right? Like Clefairy or Jigglypuff would be that good because they would just be air resistance wouldn't affect them in the right way. I don't know how big this Pokemon is. Maybe like Chingling. Because like just thinking of bells, they're sort of hollow to begin with. And it would fly pretty far, but I don't know how big Chinglings are. If a Chingling is like a reasonably ball size, potentially that.
But Chingling would have some drag with that little, like it's got a little tail thing, right? Or is that the ribbon? Yeah.
Yeah. Smoliv is a good candidate. I don't know how tall Smoliv is.
Okay, so Chingling
I've completely lost track of this game.
8 inches? 0.2 meters? Is that right? It is tiny. Yes, we have completely lost track of this game. Donphan is very puntable because he's just a tire. Yeah, but I feel like Donphan's heavy. Like, that would hurt. Like, who's doing the punting? But yeah, so as we see the N did benefit Jared here, was able to find a replacement attachment to that Xerneas, so now we have 2 Xerneas charged up with only 1 prize after that Lysander to KO the Shaman. So this just feels so hopeless for our Vespiquen player here. I'm not seeing an out. Everything else had free retreat. There's the intelligence gathering on the free retreat Shaman. I want to see the aroma of gratitude. We don't. There we go. I was like, gotta see that. Gotta flex the 10 heal. And the Rainbow Force will take it. And Jared's going to move into the finals with Rainbow Road.